It should be called The Witcher. It should be called The Witch. And that's not even, fuck it. I'm gonna say that anyway. It's shit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a late-ish. Well, we've missed one or two. I don't know. I've slept since then. WCCF Tech Podcast. Going to be a quick and easy one today. Not much in news. People get bought. That'll be one topic. Then we're going to talk generally. We're going to talk about the film and TV adaptations of games, and we're going to talk about updates, live service, non-live service, just games. The fact that they get updates now, and will it rescue a certain company? So let's stick to the first and simple topic. Daedalic Entertainment have been bought, and Platinum Games are lifting their skirt up for Microsoft. Oh, you're laughing at Francesca. Go on, Alessio. Give us a quick update on this.
Right. Well, to begin with, as you said, the official news is that Nikon has bought Daedalic Entertainment for I think around $60 million. So it's not really anywhere comparable to the other big acquisitions we talked about this year. But it's still a relatively interesting acquisition. Daedalic Entertainment is not a big publisher, but they do have some exciting games coming up. For example, the Lord of the Rings Gollum. And which is, I think Chris has been. I think you've watched a preview of that or something like that. A couple of years ago.
Yeah, so somebody else. It wasn't even so much of a preview. It was just like, here's what the IP we've got, and here's a few little bits of information. I visited the Daedalic Frank, their headquarters in Germany. Saw a few games. It doesn't surprise me that they've been bought out because they're a very niche developer and publisher anyway. They'd got into publishing more titles, but the ones they developed were very much adventure games. And they were successful what they made, but they took a few big risks. There was a strategy game which was, I can't even remember its name. In fact, there was two strategy games, both I can't remember the name, and I reviewed one of them. In fact, I think I might have reviewed both of them. I definitely previewed both of them. I don't know. Either way, one of them was decent. Yeah, decent. It had a whole time stopping mechanic, linked to heartbeats, and then the other one, which was never going to succeed because it was trying to focus on competitive online focus only, and it didn't really have a single player focus to it. So you need both, especially in strategy, real time strategy. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. They spent a lot of money. They took risks, and sometimes risks pan out. I think they took a risk on one game which wasn't a smart risk. You need to know the strategy game market, and I think I know it more than some publishers. Mainly because I play every strategy game ever. So yeah, Nacon is buying them. That it makes sense. Nacon are trying to grow after renaming themselves from Big Ben. Was it Big Ben or Nacon, or was it Focus Home who had the issue with Call of Cthulhu? Not Call of Cthulhu, Sinking City.
Yes, it was Nikon. Yeah.
Nikon was, yeah.
And again, they've bought these, so it doesn't matter. They can do what they want with them now.
Yeah, they've also bought actually Midgar Studio last week, which is the studio behind Edge of Eternity, the JRPG made by a French studio.
So it's a FRPG.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. It's
FRPG. It sounds like an insult.
Frippug. It's a Frippug. I
No,
know what you
but
mean. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
it's they are growing. I guess they are investing into studios that aren't really large, but they clearly hope they will expand and grow in the future.
They're also focusing in their area because, well, it's a French company based in Paris and other areas in France, and they tend to just have studios and things in France. Makes sense to just go across the border into Germany, so they're still very centralized. Yeah, it's interesting. They could. What they need is they just need a successful title. They need something. They need to get a surprise hit like Focus Home had with Plague Tale, and if they can do that, then it'll benefit them. So we'll see. It's early days.
Yeah, and of course, it wasn't huge news compared to what we had, but it's still interesting to see mergers and acquisitions are happening, at all levels in the industry. So not just the huge companies, but also the smaller ones.
Yeah.
And
the other thing was Platinum Games giving a slight nod and a wink, slight lift up of the skirt, showed their stockings off.
Yeah. I was laughing because there's no way Microsoft is going to buy Platinum Games after with what happened with Scalebound. They're not going to do that. Even though I feel like Platinum Games needs to be bought by someone because their latest games are just. I mean, Babylon's Fall is not yet out, but I played the closed beta and it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
I was expecting you to say the word shit then, and it feels like you just stopped yourself from saying that.
I don't. I didn't say that it's shit because the game still has to come out, and I saw some footage, some updated footage, and they may have made some changes. Not that it's going to make a big difference, to be honest.
I think they'll
But
end up...
yeah, and to be honest, in something I never thought I would say, but even Bayonetta 3, even though we saw very little, I am. I'm not really feeling it.
I just think they'll eventually get bought by Nintendo because they seem to be working with them so much.
It feels like they really need someone to give them a direction, like firm direction, because their games are honestly all over the place. They have some great games and they have some horrible games. Like I remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game they made, and everyone was so excited, and it turned out to be
those were for Activision, I think. Right?
Yeah, they were. But yeah, on the other hand, the Transformers game was very good. I don't know. It feels like they. I don't know. It's not that they lack direction. It's just that sometimes they're not focused on what makes their games good, and they try they try to do other things. Now, for example, Babylon's Falls, I'm seeing ads everywhere, and it's been marketed as from the creators of Nier Automata. Sorry, you're not really the creators of Nier Automata.
Well,
you have made the game. You have made the gameplay, but it's not the only thing that makes that game so good.
They are technically the creators.
Sorry, I'm a Yoko Taro fanboy. So.
No, I understand, but it is technically them who created it. But I know what you're saying. But
Yeah,
to be fair, they can't. They're not at fault for the advertising. That's Square Enix.
Yeah, that's true. All right, yeah, Square Enix is publishing that. Yeah, I forgot. So yeah, it's Square Enix's fault. It's always their fault. It's always their fault.
I like them too. Yeah, we'll see. I think it's just a quick nudge and a wink. I think they know they probably need the money.
Yeah, they really do.
The interesting thing is that actually not too long ago they got an investment from Tencent, if I'm not mistaken. So the reason, I mean, did they already burn through that money, or?
Well, they're making like 500 games, so yeah, probably.
Yeah, but there's smaller ones. I mean I mean it's good. I think they're going to release an old school shooter this week, Soul Cresta.
Yeah, that I was just going to mention. They've got Soul Cresta.
I don't think
Babylon's Fall, Bayonetta 3. I don't know. They've got something else in the works as well. I don't know if it's been given a name yet, even. Because didn't they have like something on the Platinum website like we've got 4 new titles or 5 new titles to advertise?
There's a new game from Kamiya. That's Project IG.
Project
I think it's called.
Wasn't there Project PG?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
And
well, we don't know anything about that. So.
And yeah, true. But and also interestingly, they do want to go back to Scalebound. That they said they want to finish it after all these years.
What the fuck?
So yeah,
don't be stupid.
I love them. I love them, but yeah, no one. They're never going to let them do that.
Why?
Besides,
why would they? Why would you even want to? Because you can't just go back to a game that was cancelled 5-6 years ago. Essentially, you've got to make the game from start because the technology's moved too much.
I don't know, but
besides, I think many of the mechanics of Scalebound they use them for Astral Chain. So it would be if they it's never going to happen. But if it were to happen, it would be releasing a new old game because we already saw a lot of the things.
But Microsoft, we've talked about this in previous podcasts, but Microsoft still needs a Japanese studio. So
they do.
When you have this, when you have an independent studio who's practically winking at you, I'm not so sure it's not really happening. It could happen.
It could, but I'd say as I keep saying, at the moment I see more acquisitions happening from Sony than I do Microsoft, simply because Microsoft's got to wait to get on the dotted line for Activision. So it's let them wink all they want. It's if this $2 hooker can find a taker.
Buy us, please buy us. Somebody buy us, please.
Just like somebody sat on, so a woman sat on docks going, "Hello, look at my leg. Would you like some?" only to find that there's some horrible disease.
Would you like some Bayonetta?
Well. Oh dear.
By the way,
yeah.
There's also a much bigger company that commented on the acquisition spree of the industry. And I'm talking about Ubisoft. The latest earnings call, their CEO basically, left the door open to all possibilities.
Oh, said, yeah, that's perfectly fine. What he said was, well, we don't have enough employees to abuse, so let's go buy some more.
No, he said, they can stay independent, given their portfolio and whatnot, but they, of course, would also review any opportunities and offers that could be made to the company. So basically, it seems like they might consider offers.
They wouldn't have a choice.
And of course, the latest, I thought it was more I thought it was valued more because it's kind of less than $6 billion as of recently. So it's not that much more than Bungie, but I think they do have a lot more, many more IPs, many more studios.
The thing
So-
is, when you look at it, that's the market capitalization. But the second interested parties come in, there's a lot more people wanting to buy, so that'll raise up, and then you always have a premium on top of the market cap. So 6 billion now very quickly turns into 8 billion in the future.
Yeah,
That's the way
possible.
acquisitions. Genuinely, that's the way acquisitions work.
But
The thing about Bungie is that's a private company, so there's nobody there just saying, well, this is the market capital value of it, so this is what you pay. That's just down to Bungie higher ups and Sony higher ups going, I'll give you 2 pork pies and 10 quid. They go, no, we need 3 pork pies.
but I mean, it's not even out of Sony's league. I mean, they could do it potentially. It's not too much.
Quite easy, very easy. They've got $50 billion in the bank. That's just their cash. They could buy Ubisoft without worrying. That's why I mentioned they could buy Square Enix. They could buy anybody. The only ones they couldn't really buy without a concern, was that by having to dip into something more than cash in the bank, would be Electronic Arts or Activision. Everybody else is fair game.
Yeah, but why would Sony buy up Ubisoft?
Yeah,
that's the question. I think. I don't think they just bring something that Sony doesn't already have or that could get better elsewhere.
It would be just
like you said, Square Enix. Square Enix is, I think, it's much more
but
interesting.
We've all said. I've said this so many times.
We said
before.
that. We say this every time. Yeah, we're not really.
Let's we've done acquisitions so many times. Let's go to
it's good to happen.
Let's go to the games that what I mentioned at the start. Games that are getting updated, mainly, which has sprung to my mind because one certain game which had a momentous. Can't talk today. A fucked up release. That's the best way of saying it. It had a fucked up release. We're talking about Cyberpunk. And now it's got an update, which it's a big update. I haven't played it since the update, but has anybody played it since the update? Either of you two?
I tried it. Yeah. No, not a lot because I'm busy with other things. But yeah, I gave it a try, and the biggest changes are those that you need to play for longer because they changed the perk tree. Okay. They removed useless perk, like they had a useless perk that you could be stealth in water, but you never get in the water. I remember one side mission when you have to go underwater, and that's it. Yeah, and one thing I noticed that is, I think I have worse performance now. That's the one thing I noticed.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't know if they made any other change, but I could easily go a little bit higher, 60 FPS in pretty much every moment at 4K. But now it struggles a bit with traffic, and it may have to do with they changed the crowd AI, so that probably is a bit more taxing on the system as a whole.
If you have ray tracing enabled, they also added new local artificial lights. So that's more taxing, especially in night.
Always told you ray tracing was a bad idea. Told you.
It's good for screenshots and photo modes.
I'm taking the piss.
There are quite a few changes to improvements to physics and AI and driving and also the game is apparently a lot tougher, because they basically they nerfed a lot of critical builds that made the game way too easy, especially at high levels. and so it's a lot of rebalancing as well. And yeah, it's been. I think it's been doing quite well on Steam lately. It's one of the best-selling games. Well, of course, there is also a discount. But interestingly, there's still no trial on PC, while there is now on consoles.
Mm.
So that's
I think
an
they
interesting
needed to
thing.
do that just to prove that it actually works now. After what
Yeah.
happened before.
Well, and on Steam you can get a refund if you don't play it for I don't remember how many hours, but 2 hours. Well, you can still it's still a little bit of a trial.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the
Mm.
console one is, but it's not much longer. I think.
I think it may be 5 hours,
Yeah,
if I'm
it's
not. Could be, but yeah, it does seem to have. Yeah, well, it's certainly working a lot better on next gen consoles than it ever did on the old ones, and they clearly put a lot of work into this patch. Of course, it's not, especially for PC. I'd say it's not time to go back yet. In that, I'd wait for the big expansion first. It's coming supposedly. Yeah, it's coming supposedly this year, hopefully. And
Supposedly.
yeah, that should be the time to go back.
I suppose the
See.
question I've got then, how does it impact the past generation of consoles? Because it's all fine saying it works better on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, but nobody can buy them at the moment.
I mean,
yeah.
quite a few million people already did. So,
Yeah, but you know what I mean. The vast majority of people are still on the older generation of consoles.
I know, but no, I think it works better even on last gen. Of course, it's not. It's never going to be exactly the same. In fact, if you actually scroll down the huge patch notes, they even added some stuff that's only on PC and next gen. It was let me see if I can find it, but it was specified
No, that
that
don't need to know what they
some
are,
of the
but yeah,
new
it's
stuff.
understandable.
Yeah, some of the new stuff is also it's also only on PC and next gen. So interestingly, they said basically there are some new secrets across Night City to find, and this is only available on PC and next gen because of technical limitations. So that's
Hmm.
Time
it's a
to
lot
move
of stuff.
on.
They have also improved the romances. You now have more interactions with your lovers. They send you even apparently nude pictures on your phone or something like that.
So there is a reason to go back to it.
I guess if you're into that, yeah. So there's lots of stuff, and also supposedly I think they improved the melee fights a lot, especially with the.
Yeah, they've done quite a lot. I suppose the question is though, is it enough to rescue the CDPR name? Or like obviously, then again, it came out quite a while back now. It's longer than expected, longer than you first think. But yeah, obviously their reputation took a big hit. They need to release more, I would imagine. The free DLC and everything that desperately needs to come.
Yeah. Like I said, it's really going to be down to the expansions, because if they are as meaty as what we've seen, what we've got from The Witcher 3, those were kind of 20-hour or even 30-hour long expansions.
I'm more thinking
Then
the
peop-
three things because if they expect people to buy more content, you probably should want to get people in your good books by releasing
Well, but
free. Yeah.
but those are very small stuff. If they do, I mean, the
Yeah.
ones they release so far, it's small stuff. They really don't change
Mm.
things that
Yeah,
much.
I mean, even
It's
with The
free.
Witcher 3, even there were some free DLCs,
Yeah.
but I think it was really maybe one or two quests.
Oh no,
It
that's
wasn't.
perfectly
Yeah.
fine, but that's what I mean. Just start releasing some of them before going. Here's a new expansion to Cyberpunk which you can pay for, because I don't think that'll go down well. And to be fair, I just look at when I look at games now, and there's only a handful of games that manage it, but the games where they really are giving, well, they've rescued reputations. No Man's Sky, which got just another massive update. That they seem to be rolling off massive updates. Then I have hot dinners.
Yeah, and apparently they've also got no plans to stop. So you're still going to write those news articles.
As soon as I've
for
wrote
me.
one, they've got a new update out. Oh, I'll say,
They work
No Man's
fast.
Sky, I've got a new update, and then as soon as that goes live, another email. Oh, we've got a new update coming out. What? How? How are you doing this?
Well, that's what the people wanted, and now they're giving it to them. Constant updates.
It's madness. They're practically I'm fairly sure they're releasing a brand new game every 3 months, and they're just rolling it up into No Man's Sky. Eventually, No Man's Sky is going to be like the free version of World of Warcraft, but space. Bloody madness.
The interesting thing is that they don't even have like microtransactions or stuff like that. So it's just really only the profits from purchasing the full game
In Game
that
Pass, yeah.
they're going on. Yeah. So
It was,
yeah.
well, I say we wrote about it at the time, but when No Man's Sky went onto Game Pass, they gained 1 million extra users right away. Obviously, they won't have all stuck around, but even if they've just kept, as even if they kept like 1% of that, that's still 10,000. But I imagine they've kept more than 1% of that, and they'll be getting a cut of that money every time. So it's keep releasing. I mean, they've only got like a handful of people in the company, and I don't know, 11 developers originally.
I think it to about 30 developers. 30.
Was it? Why have I got 11 in my head? Don't know. Either way, 30 is very small.
Yeah. And they're also doing another big game, apparently. So they've said last year.
Hey,
actually,
after what they've done with No Man's Sky, count me in. Genuinely, count me in. I trust them as a company. I genuinely. There's not many developers where I trust them to do something good, but these are one of them. Like Creative Assembly is another. You earned that trust, and these have earned that trust. CD Projekt Red had that trust, then they broke it, so they can re-earn it.
Everyone loves a comeback story, I guess.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But
yeah.
What was the other topic? I forgot now.
Adaptations.
That was it. Your favorite one, Francesco. So what you all don't know is Francesco really, really enjoys video game to TV and film adaptations. I mean, he never stops talking about The Witcher. Never stops.
Yeah, it should be called The Witch. It should be called The Witch. And let's not even, fuck it. I'm going to say that anyway. It's shit. I mean, first, I'm turning into Chris now. Season
Oof.
one had a lot of issues, a lot of issues. But I said, yeah, okay, it's the first season. They can do better. No, they did not get better. They did worse. Netflix, stop adapting things. You don't get them. You don't understand what you're adapting. Stop. Don't do that anymore. I should say Amazon too. Stay away from the Lord of the Rings. It's not your stuff. And from the Wheel of Time too. Stay away. It's not your stuff. You don't get it.
In all fairness, Amazon's version of the TV series Reacher, based on the first season, based on the first book, is fantastic. I'm a massive Lee Child fan
Yeah,
and Jack Reacher fan, and that is 8 episodes
yeah.
of brilliance.
They still need to
Let's.
stay away from adaptation. Don't touch them. I mean, of the Wheel of Time. Unless you can understand it, because I suppose you read all the books.
Yeah.
See,
I
I've
liked one episode. I liked one episode. Everything else, that's not the Wheel of Time.
See, I've watched a few episodes, and I need to rewatch them anyway, and rewatch the whole thing because I sort of fell asleep when watching a certain episodes, and then I just haven't watched it again. But I don't remember any wheels. Where's the wheels?
Yeah, because it's a concept, metaphysical concept, like at the base of creation, that kind of shit. You know what's the worst thing about both for The Witcher and The Wheel of Time? They have the entire story already. They have it. They can really make the meaningful cuts and then straight streamline everything. No, it feels like these people pick stories that people love and then make their own stories with those characters that are just bad. Sorry, I had to say that.
So
It's
you
all that.
like them? So you enjoy them?
Yeah, I hate watch them. I hate watch them. I did the same with Game of Thrones, but at least those two so and so had a good reason. They're just not good writers, period. And they did not have the source material because George Martin doesn't care anymore. But at least they had a reason. But these other people, they don't have any reason other than they just want
Well,
to tell their stories.
I
Tell
mean,
your stories with your characters and
I
leave
mean,
those alone.
the first few seasons of of Thrones were pretty, on
Yeah,
point compared to the
yeah,
books.
true. I'd say the
So,
first one, though. I'm going to be more clear and I say just the first one, but yeah, I can be nicer and I say we can say the first two or three.
I like this.
Yeah, we could be talking about this for hours, but we can't.
What about film adaptations? Have you seen the Resident Evil film? Not
You know,
the
I
ones with Mila
I think
Jovovich.
I think I saw just the first two ones. I mean, like
No,
over
none
10
of them.
years
I'm on
ago.
about the new one, the one that
No,
released
I
last
did
year.
yeah,
not.
It's not
No,
bad,
I
to be
did not
honest.
watch.
It's not too bad.
Hmm.
So,
yeah,
are you going to be
I've
watching
seen it.
Uncharted?
Me,
Well, I
I don't like Uncharted.
Bloody
no,
hell!
I've seen.
It's not that I don't like it. It's not that I don't like it
Go on,
because
Alessio. Go.
I just played the second
Yeah,
one.
I've watched both, so it's. Oh, I think well, when it comes to Resident Evil, I think it's not great, but it's not bad either. And I do think it is a lot more faithful to the games compared to the other movie series
Of course it is.
adaptation.
Those were more faithful to bloody Doom than they were Resident Evil. I enjoyed them enough for
Yeah.
it.
Although of course there were a few changes that made me scratch my head. For example, like I told you, Albert Wesker is a cop in this movie, but of course that was never true
Yeah.
in the games.
Mm.
And but yeah, overall I enjoyed it. And but personally, I think Uncharted was even better compared to Resident Evil as an adaptation.
But even though I've not
Uh,
seen it, you're going to agree that it needed Nathan Fillion instead.
I mean, Nathan Fillion, as far as I'm concerned, should be in everything, every movie ever made. No, I love him, but Yeah, it's Uncharted is kind of a bit of a weird one because they're basically doing a much younger version of him. And in the games, you only briefly touch that, I think, in Uncharted 3, where you do have a flashback and you play as young Nathan. But it's really a short, short play time, and most of the games are with a much older version of Nathan Drake. Here you have basically 20-year-old Nathan Drake. So this also means that Sullivan isn't the grizzled veteran from the games. Instead is Mark Wahlberg. So but it's I liked for example Chloe. I thought she was pretty good compared to what we've seen in the games, and also Tom Holland is good as always. I mean, he's a good actor. So, and he's also clearly played games before, before the shootings. So, I think, like I said, it's not overall a great movie, but as far as game adaptation are concerned, I think it's one of the best ones yet. And of course, that was kind of to be expected since Sony kind of created their whole division called PlayStation Productions, and they are basically dedicated to adapting all of PlayStation IPs over time to TV or cinema.
Yeah, I
So
mean, well, they're making, well, they've got like a Ghost of Tsushima film in early pre-production, which should be quite interesting. I don't know what else they've got though.
well, of course, they are working with the HBO on The Last of Us, the TV adaptation, which is not coming this year, unfortunately. But there are lots of other TV shows coming up, so it's fine.
But the thing for me is when you just mentioned a good, well, if they're what good films there are adaptations. I did enjoy the Tomb Raider one with Alicia Vikander. That wasn't too dissimilar to the new games, and they're making a sequel to that, as far as I'm aware. And Mortal Kombat was just quite fun. It was silly, but it was fun. And then I can't deny that I enjoyed Sonic the Hedgehog, and I liked the trailer for the second one with the even bigger
Yeah,
mustache.
I think they nailed it. I mean, they started with that horrible Sonic design that was pretty much a real hedgehog, but blue and big. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Me too. I think it's one of the best movie adaptations of a video game because yeah, it's fun. It's not to take seriously, but yeah, it's all in good fun, and I think it works.
So I can't remember if we mentioned it on the podcast before or if I just typed the reply where obviously Dwayne Johnson mentioned that he's going to be in a new video game film in the near future. I sort of just looking now at upcoming, video game films, and what I said in the text chat, it was text chat. I said I can tell, I know what it's going to be, especially because it's linked to Microsoft Gears of War, and there is an untitled Gears of War film in pre-production, so that's going to be. It's got to be. He's built like one of those muscle-bound fake people. He's that big. He doesn't look real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he will be doing a call from from the original trilogy or something like
I
that.
genuinely think he's going to be in the Gears of War film. I'm especially. I said it as a guest before, but now I know that there's one in the making. If he's not in it, there's something wrong. Though whoever's done
I
the
think
casting is wrong. They're just pure wrong.
yeah. But I think overall there is a lot of interest from both streaming services and just Hollywood in general for game IPs. We have a lot coming up. It's the Halo TV is coming in March, and also they just announced that the second season is coming, already confirmed. Also, there is a Borderlands movie which is going to feature Kate Blanchett. So it's there's a lot of things coming up in this area. Of course, not all of them will be good, but I like to keep an open mind. Of course, adaptations. You have to consider they're never going to be the same thing, especially if you're changing the medium so much from an interactive one like games to non-interactive ones like TV or cinema. So you have to imagine it's going to be different in many ways. I mean, for example, we also have the Fallout show that's coming up, and actually they announced that Walton Goggins will be playing a ghoul, one of the leads,
I
and
think
that's
he's good.
interesting.
He's just a great actor, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched the whole of Justified, and that was amazing.
The Shield. Watch The Shield.
And it's also interesting that they are making a ghoul one of the leads because of course the player character was never, I think, a ghoul in the games, but it's going to be an interesting perspective for sure. And also, of course, in the Fallout games, since they are RPGs, you also have the chance to affect the story often, through conversations, dialogues, and that's not going to be possible here. So, like I said,
we saw that in Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
I forgot about that. Why did you have to bring it up? Oh my god!
Oh my
god! That's when Square Enix started. Yeah, I mean, it was still SquareSoft back then. It was Electronic Arts, Square, I think. Yeah, well,
that film nearly crashed the deal with Enix. That film cost that much money and lost them that much money. It nearly tanked the deal with Enix.
Yeah, well, Enix got the short end of the stick in that deal. I have to say that.
Yeah, I think we said enough on that though. We'll wrap up. I know you can't talk about what you're playing, Francesco. We've already talked about that. So we'll move on to Alessio.
Yeah, well, I've played Horizon, of course, Forbidden West. So the review is out now, so we can talk about it. But I have to say that the game grew on me because when I began my review session, if you will, I was like, yeah, it's like the first one, but a bit better in this, bit better in that. But it expanded a lot over the course of the game. The map is just huge. There's lots of things to do. I mean, there are even kind of races you can do with the charger, against other NPCs. There are lots of interesting new things. Puzzles are a lot better in this one compared to Zero Dawn. Combat is deeper with the weapon techniques and the valor surges. So, and the story is interesting. I mean, The game has been out for a while, but only a short while, I guess. So maybe we can't discuss the ending yet.
No, because I'm going to buy it. Don't.
Yeah, let's.
But
Well, it's good then, is it?
yeah, it is absolutely. I've had a lot of fun, and like I said in the review, I think I played 70 hours, and that was far from done in terms of side content. And actually, I'm still playing now to do a lot of side quests and errands that I've missed. And also, it's super cool to just fly around once you get the Soundwing override. So you can, it gives you a lot of freedom in how you explore the world, and it's just a lot of fun.
I need to buy it as well, so I don't want it to. Same as Francesco, don't want anything spoiling. As for me, I don't. I'm not been playing a massive amount. I'm waiting for games more than anything. I'm waiting for. Well, obviously I played a hell of a lot of Total War Warhammer 3. That review came out the same day as Horizon. Completely different games, though, fortunately, so they have different audiences. So yeah, Total War Warhammer 3. That's absorbed about 100 hours of my time since I got the review copy. So that's not too bad.
So yeah, it's I'm wondering how long it will be before Sony puts it on PC. I'm hoping, sooner than talking about Horizon, of course, sooner than Zero Dawn, obviously.
I think it will be same as I said before. I think Sony's method will be at the moment they're probably going to wait 2 years when games when the PlayStation 5's in proper circulation. So later on in the console's life cycle, I think it'll be 1 year. Essentially the consoles will get 1 year exclusivity, but at the moment, because there's nowhere near enough PlayStation 5s out, 2 years. I'm guessing that's what I would do from the business perspective.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, we'll see also because they haven't announced yet whether they're going to do an expansion like they did with Zero Dawn or not.
It's too early, so we'll find out.
Yeah, depending on that, it might already have the expansion like it was for Zero Dawn, which came out as the complete edition on PC.
Oh yeah, yeah, true. We'll see.
It's the silver lining of getting a game late is that it's going to be really the best version of it. As we've said, these days, even single-player titles are updated with lots of improvements post-launch and new content, DLCs. So sometimes it's okay to wait. For a couple of years to get the Ultimate Edition, especially if you have a large backlog, which I think everyone does nowadays.
Yeah.
You're not kidding. But on that, I think we should probably all get to our backlogs.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So just
March is going to be even more busy than February, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God, don't get us started. We'll worry about that when the time comes. But yeah, I think that
next week.
No, yeah,
the time has come. It's next week.
We'll worry about that in a week. We'll worry about that in 2 weeks. For now we'll call it a day. Yeah. So
you got Gran Turismo coming up. Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's one of the games I'm waiting for. So yeah, I'm definitely waiting for Gran Turismo. I've long history with the series, but 2 weeks time, we'll see what happens. And on that note, I think we can call it for today, because I know Francesco's got to run off. He's going to finally finally wash his shirt.
Yeah.
Right.
You have a contract, like, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They pay me like €5 every time I show the shirt.
Right.
I don't think I can afford more.
God. Right. So on that note, now we know Francesco hates The Witcher. We'll call it a day. I'll see you all in a bit.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.